Let's start with our first news. After his corner stoppage loss to Mike Perry, Nate Diaz fires back at fans, telling him to retire. You should hang him up. I just fought the most violent opponent right there. So, maybe I just need to run a little harder next time I get the job done. And if I didn't, then you should hang him up. Maybe I just don't fight the most violent. Maybe I just fight the second most violent. People just like, maybe I'm done. I'm retired. Here's my glove in the cage. The message came after fans online suggested that Nate Diaz should step away from competition. He pushed back with clear frustration and defiance in his tone, stating he had just faced extreme pressure inside the cage against one of the most aggressive strikers in the sport today. And he was not accepting the idea that his career should end based on one performance alone. Instead, he implied that adjustments and improvements in training and effort could change future outcomes, while keeping his fighting spirit alive despite criticism from spectators and commentators alike. He remained firm in his belief that he still belongs in high-level competition and will continue to push forward. He emphasized that retirement talk does not reflect this mindset and that he will decide his own path inside the sport, regardless of outside opinions or pressure from fans online or en masse around the world, keeping his identity as a fighter intact and continuing to move forward with determination and focus on future fights and performances that define his career rather than recent setbacks, while maintaining a defiant attitude toward critics and expectations set by others in the sport of mixed martial arts and refusing to be defined. Move on to another news at the start. Jorge Masvidal gave his take on Conor returning to face Max Holloway at UFC 329, saying it is a bad matchup for Conor and a strong opportunity for Max Holloway. He added that everybody is asking about Max Holloway versus Conor, calling it a crazy and exciting fight. According to him, it is a really good fight for Max Holloway, but a very bad fight for Conor, and he is curious to see what happens next. He also mentioned that many people believe it should have been him versus Conor, and claimed that Conor knows he smokes him. Chael Sonnen shared his thoughts on the situation, saying he is not a big fan of a rematch between Mike Perry and Nate Diaz. Instead, he believes Mike Perry should face Jorge Masvidal, describing it as a more compelling direction for the division. He explained that Perry kept the pressure high in the Nate Diaz fight, which turned into a very intense and compelling situation. He noted that Nate called for a rematch after the fight, and Perry agreed, saying he would oblige if it happens. However, he is not fully convinced that the matchup will actually happen or that matchmaking will go in that direction. He suggested that if the rematch does not happen, Mike Perry versus Jorge Masvidal would still be a strong alternative fight. He added that Masvidal is currently a free agent, making the matchup more realistic and easier to organize. Overall, he praised the Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry fight, calling it an incredible street fight that delivered from start to finish. He emphasized that when fan favorites fight, it creates emotional reactions because people are attached to both competitors. He said that although there was blood and damage, both fighters ultimately walked away healthy after a brutal scrap. He concluded by crediting Mike Perry for his strategy, calling it something rarely seen and highly effective in the fight. He noted that the moment also showed how unpredictable MMA matchmaking can be, with fan demand often shaping future fights more than rankings or records, and that fighters like Mike Perry and Nate Diaz bring a level of excitement that keeps audiences engaged even outside championship discussions in the sport. He added that this is why fans remain divided but highly invested in every announcement in modern mixed martial arts. Move on to another news at the start. Daniel Cormier reacted to Nate Diaz's loss to Mike Perry, offering a candid breakdown of what he saw inside the fight and how the performance unfolded. He explained that he initially thought Nate might find a way to turn the fight into some sort of top position situation or grappling advantage, but that never materialized. Instead, he said Nate was simply outclassed in every situation, and it was a surprising outcome for many watching. He noted that a lot of people reacted strongly online, with some even mocking Nate Diaz after the loss, saying things like they wanted to dance on his grave, but he made it clear he did not share that attitude. He said the situation was not funny to him because he had actually spoken to Nate just a week before the fight, and that conversation changed how he viewed the result. According to him, he and Nate had discussed several topics where they might not always see eye to eye, but he still believes Nate is a decent and respectable person outside the cage. However, he admitted that in the fight itself, it simply looked like Nate had nothing for Mike Perry that night. and there was a clear gap in effectiveness. He then shifted focus to Mike Perry, questioning why people continue to underestimate him, despite repeated strong performances in both MMA and bare-knuckle competition. He pointed out that Perry has consistently proven himself by damaging and beating tough opponents, including fighters like Eddie Alvarez, where he caused significant damage. He also referenced other high-profile wins, saying Perry has hurt and overwhelmed multiple respected names, showing that he is still operating at a very high level. He emphasized that Perry is not a joke opponent, but instead a dangerous and proven fighter who continues to evolve and deliver violent performances inside the cage and in bare-knuckle bouts. He concluded by suggesting that fans and critics often misjudge Mike Perry, and that his recent performances against elite competition prove he deserves serious recognition in combat sports. Move on to another news start. Francis Ngannou reacted after Dana White announced Conor versus Max Holloway during his walkout following his knockout win over Felipe Lins. The moment sparked discussion, and Francis was asked about it at the post-fight press conference. He was questioned directly about whether he noticed Dana White going live on Instagram during his entrance and announcing the return of Conor, and how he felt about that timing. Francis Ngannou responded by saying, "And what do I have to do with that?" He made it clear he did not see any reason to be distracted by what was happening outside the cage while he was focused on his own performance and his own career. He added that he was not going to stop his workout or walkout just to pay attention to announcements happening elsewhere, emphasizing that his focus remains on his own path. He continued by saying that people had been talking during the week about Dana potentially making announcements during the event, and he acknowledged hearing about the speculation but did not place importance on it. He then said, "Okay, let's move on. Life goes on. I'm doing my stuff. I'm doing good. I have no problem. Everybody can do whatever he wants." Francis emphasized a calm and detached mindset, making it clear that he was not concerned with promotional timing or external narratives surrounding other fighters or announcements. When the topic came back up in conversation, he reacted again to the situation involving Conor's return being announced, and he responded with a blunt and sarcastic tone, saying, "The cocky guy is back. Nice. Yeah, that's cool, bro. Cool. Yeah, drop it during our event." He then expressed frustration at the timing of the announcement, suggesting that it was intentionally placed to take attention away from his own fight night moment. Francis Ngannou went on to say that the move showed what he described as insecure behavior, calling it an attempt by others to piggyback off their event and shift attention toward different news, instead of respecting the fighters currently performing. He added that these kinds of actions reflect people trying to stay relevant by attaching themselves to someone else's spotlight. He concluded by stating that such attempts would not succeed, making it clear that his focus and achievements in the moment were not diminished by outside announcements or promotional distractions. And he remained firm in his position regarding respect and timing in major fight events. Move on to another news at the start. Ilia Topuria discussed his altercation with Josh Hokit at the UFC White House press conference. He said Josh was lucky there was security present, because otherwise he would have gotten hurt. He explained that the situation escalated quickly during the press event, but security stepped in before anything physical could fully unfold. He made it clear that tensions were already high, and the confrontation with Josh Hokit was not something he expected in that environment. Ilia also emphasized that he remained composed, even while the situation was close to becoming physical, and he believes it could have ended badly without intervention. For the format people, he said the moment was chaotic and hard to control, but security maintained order. He stressed that while emotions run high in competitive environments, there are limits, and this was one of those situations where outside control was necessary. He reiterated that he had no intention of allowing the situation to escalate further, but made a strong statement that Josh Hokit was fortunate to be protected by security at that moment. He described the incident as a brief but intense confrontation, and suggested that without officials stepping in, the outcome could have been very different. He maintained that he stays focused on competition and does not seek unnecessary conflicts outside the fight, but will not tolerate disrespect in public settings. He added that moments like these often get exaggerated online, but inside the arena, things move fast, and security has to react instantly. Ilia concluded that he remains confident in how he handled the situation, and that his priority is always to stay prepared for competition, rather than engage in unnecessary drama. He said the experience at the UFC White House press conference was unusual, but it will not distract him from his goals inside the octagon. He emphasized that respect in combat sports is earned through performance, and situations like this only reinforce his mindset to stay disciplined and focused moving forward. He also noted that security teams play a crucial role in maintaining order at major events, ensuring fighters can express themselves without physical escalation during heated exchanges. Overall, he framed the incident as controlled chaos that was handled properly, with no lasting issues beyond the brief confrontation at the press conference, and security restored order immediately after the situation unfolded in a professional manner, respectfully. Move on to another news at the start. Arman and Giorgio appear to have put their issues behind them after previously being linked to tension between them. The two were recently seen together on a live stream on Kick, where they surprised fans by training side by side and sharing wrestling techniques in a friendly and cooperative environment. During the stream, Arman greeted him casually, saying, "Good to see you, bro. Are you streaming or what are you doing?" He then asked if he was live, and Giorgio confirmed they were streaming on Kick, telling viewers to say hi to chat. They joked about audience size and engagement, with mentions of having millions of followers, creating a light and relaxed atmosphere during the session. Giorgio welcomed the interaction, asking chat how they were doing and expressing excitement about learning new techniques. Arman responded positively, saying he came to learn as well, and offered to show wrestling fundamentals during the session. The two then began exchanging techniques, with Giorgio asking for specific moves like a headlock, while Arman agreed to demonstrate and break down details. They discussed striking and wrestling transitions, including how punches are thrown into entries and takedown setups, focusing on angles and timing. Arman explained adjustments in stance and movement, noting how small changes can make a big difference in execution. He also described how switching stance affects distance and control during exchanges, while Giorgio responded by sharing his own understanding of positioning. The conversation became more technical as they worked through entries from striking into grappling, including step-behind movements and directional control. Arman emphasized the importance of correct angles and pressure when transitioning into takedowns, showing how technique evolves through repetition and detail. Giorgio responded by acknowledging the explanations and attempting to replicate the movements during the session, with Arman correcting and guiding him. The exchange remained friendly and collaborative, with both athletes exchanging knowledge rather than competing against each other. Arman encouraged proper mechanics, pointing out how the final movement should finish with control and balance to secure effectiveness. The session ended on a positive note, with both continuing to refine techniques together and showing mutual respect, suggesting that any previous tension between them has now been left behind and replaced with training, learning, and shared focus on improving skills inside combat sports. Move on to another news at the start. Jon Jones ran into Arman during a recent encounter last night, where the two briefly crossed paths and exchanged positive words in a casual moment outside of competition. Jon Jones expressed that he has been following Arman's work and specifically mentioned that he loves the content Arman has been producing with Nanina Drama. He praised it openly, saying, "I love all the content you're doing. It's great," showing clear appreciation for Arman's recent media appearances and online presence. The interaction remained relaxed and respectful, with Jon Jones taking a moment to acknowledge Arman's growing influence beyond just fighting and into entertainment and content creation. Arman responded positively, engaging in the conversation as Jon Jones continued to show support and interest in what he has been building outside the cage. Jon Jones then went further, saying he would love to attend Arman's next wrestling event, expressing genuine interest in being present and watching the action live. He added that he would definitely show up if invited, reinforcing his supportive tone and enthusiasm for the event. The conversation stayed friendly throughout, with both athletes showing mutual respect and appreciation during the brief exchange. Jon Jones encouraged Arman's continued success, wishing him good luck and showing support for his upcoming projects and competitions. Arman acknowledged the message, keeping the exchange respectful and professional as the two shared a quick but impactful interaction. The moment highlighted a rare crossover between top-level MMA personalities outside of competition, where respect and admiration were openly expressed. Jon Jones' comments reflected recognition of Arman's rising presence in the sport, not just as a fighter, but also as a public figure, gaining attention through media content. The encounter ended on a positive note, with Jon Jones reiterating his interest in attending future events and supporting Arman's journey moving forward. leaving a strong impression of respect between the two athletes in an unexpected meeting.